I'm not seeing what you sent.
Okay, it's an eBay link in the show chat.
Show chat. Trying to find show chat. Oh, by the way, we're live.
Okay. Okay. Hey guys. It's the little speech bubble, like comic book speech bubble on
Over on the right.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
That should pop down your chat and let you go to it.
Okay. That's I'm a derp. I'm clicking on it and it's not bringing up like a chat thing. It says find perfect. Oh, that's a sound thing.
Yeah, for me it's right above you. There's a bookmark icon and then there's the speech bubble.
Found it.
Yeah. Okay.
Plasticon knows technology. No, I don't. Not all the time.
Well, it's like I told my wonderful loving wife. I'm a RCA coax guy living in a Bluetooth world.
Yeah. I can totally relate when it comes to how that is. I am still rather be running Windows XP instead of anything that has ever existed in computers.
I miss Windows 98. It was the most stable thing I've ever used. I was on version 1 forever. I never upgraded to version 2.
My Mac's just fine.
Alright, so welcome back to our Plasticast, guys. I'm joined here by the full cast today. We have Megamus here.
Sideburn is getting his ducks in a row.
As usual. I'm here with Headmaster Don.
Everybody.
And here with Sideburn and his ducks. And his dog, it looks like.
Yeah, all the animals. the ducks are put away. It was gonna start storming soon.
Thunderstorms.
I'm waiting for the So yeah, if I drop randomly, it's probably because the power flew.
Yeah. So we're gonna talk high-end, insane, crazy toys and different types of collectibles that have been hitting the fandom and had hit the fandom some time back. One of the things that's actually sparked this off is I'm going to screen share this real quick. And Dawn has been after this for quite some time.
Well, no, I've not been after it. It's just it's a concern I have that, but it's like, for example, there's always been your high-end Transformer collectibles, but they've been done by either third parties, such as figures like Make Toys when they did the Metroplex or their Metro Titan. You had Fans Toys doing $1,000 combiners. I just watched a video review from Bobby Skullface comparing the DX9 Minosaur versus Fans Toys Minosaur. Fans Toys Minosaur comes out at about $1,000 to get the whole set. So there's always been these high-end figures, especially since third party became a thing. But then you started having other
is a statue, though.
It's a lamp.
Okay.
It's a lamp. It's the Unicron lamp. I have that is from my watch page. I have had that on my watch list for 2 to 3 years. It has never dropped in price. I've never gotten an offer for it, because sometimes if you watch something, the seller will send you an offer. And this is supposed to be a licensed product. It's a Unicron lamp that goes for anywhere from $700 to $1,000, and then you have anywhere from $700 to $1,000 shipping, depending on which seller you look at. So there's always been, on the fringe of our fandom, on the fringe of the Transformers fandom, these high-end collectibles. even back in the 80s and 90s, you had your lucky draw figures. Not necessarily they weren't readily available, but when they went on the secondary market, your Blackfire Convoys, your gold-plated Armada Optimus, whatever it was, they brought in a premium because of their scarcity. What I'm worried about is where we're going now that Takara is doing this T-Spark line, which is a high. It's basically this masterpiece. It's above masterpiece. It's a masterpiece plus level of collectible, and I have concerns. That's kind of. Do you have the yeah. I have issues. Have you got a picture? Have you got a picture of the Predaking available?
Oh yes, I do. And
Okay.
It's a wonderful looking piece.
Oh yeah, it's absolutely stunning.
This is directly from Hasbro Pulse. This is pre-order. $439.99 for a combiner.
Now, in the defense, that is probably going to be if you were interested in this Predaking, one, I think it looks fabulous. I think as Predaking, it looks incredible. The downsides to me, one is the price. Although getting it through Pulse will probably be cheaper than any other way of getting it, because they're not asking for a deposit like some online retailers. You're not paying shipping from Japan when it comes out, because with the yen translation, it comes out to be about $400 right now. Which, yes, is cheaper than what it is domestically, which it usually is. Do you think that will ship for $40 from Japan? Probably not.
You'll spend probably at least $60 to $80.
Exactly. Especially
if
with
you don't get hit with a tariff, because I heard that they are dropping the $800. They might be dropping the $800.
Yeah, the de minimis
duty.
Yeah, the de minimis rule is no. So basically, even ordering stuff Brian ordered some stuff from Manadrake, some smaller things that he'd been looking for, because of that de minimis exception being revoked, and he was hit by a $60 to $70 surcharge on the tariff surcharge on that.
Yeah.
Which he shouldn't have been, because it wasn't in effect at the time. But the thing is, though, these are very niche collectibles being done officially. This is no third party. This is no licensed. This is Takara, or a branch of Takara themselves.
So
And this is a $450 figure.
the way I'm looking at this is all of us remember the early 2000s when the Generations line came out, and you had variants like Takara did, different paint jobs. Sometimes they would add a different weapon, something like that. This is Takara doing the extreme and not releasing the same toy in Japan as the rest of the world, instead of just doing it exclusive. That's what this kind of feels like to me. Does that seem about right?
Well, it's basically a high-end collectible being marketed in the Japanese, but again, they are letting Pulse pick it up. But if you look at other lines like Takara's Wild King, the Power Core Combiner-ish series that's very popular right now, that's not been picked up by hardly any domestic retailer, especially Hasbro Pulse. So you're looking at...
Why would you think that is? Because, you would think because they're doing, what is the newer Cyberverse, I forget what they call it, the one with the huge...
Yeah, Cyberworld.
Yes, the new Cyberworld. Do you think
Cyberworld, yeah.
maybe they're not doing that because it could be a conflict of interest?
Maybe, or they're thinking people will get one confused with the other, since they're both inherently very simple. But I've heard of people talking about this. I would give credit if I can remember which person said this. It may be on RFC, it may be on a podcast, another podcast I listened to. So, but someone said that Wild King series was if Power Core Combiners was done correctly. as
Okay.
you know,
I can see
which
that.
yeah. But again, that's on the lower end of the hobby.
Hmm.
I'm worried that my concern is they're going to be making these prestige pieces at a time when our pricing, especially for those of us live now, admittedly, those of us that live in the U.S., we have been very lucky compared to Canada, the UK, Australasia, and some other places, getting figures they didn't at prices they didn't. So we have been very lucky. But now with all the tariff structure issues, the wibbly wobbly on will they, won't they, we're now seeing a lot of added cost on figures that are already pushing half a, half a thousand.
So
It's like,
I guess my question to you would be is, tell me again what your concern is.
well, this is my concern.
Offering these high-end collectibles.
They're going to price most of the collectors who want this out of being able to afford it.
Okay, so what do you think ultimately is going to happen?
They're not going to sell the units.
And then what's going to happen?
They're going to stop making them.
There you
Or
go.
see,
It's
that's
all
the problem.
itself.
Yeah, unfortunately though, you're losing out on product
Yeah.
that
I'm-
you could.
I mean,
don't-
I'm looking at this, and Predaking's my second favorite combiner. Bruticus #1, Predaking #2. This thing looks horrible.
Now, see
It's-
that's a very rare opinion that I have
does
not heard
look
from.
like Predaking to me. It looks like
It is a very stylized take. on
very,
Predaking.
very stylish, and I don't care for it. So for me, it's an easy pass.
Yeah, it's
But,
very.
but I know I'm in the minority, but still, when you have high-end collectibles, you have a niche market. You have less people, and if they're going to rely upon that, that line is not going to keep going.
Exactly, and that's
So
my
it's
concern
working
is that.
itself out.
Whereas, like recently, we got Star Optimus, which I personally call the Titan Junior price point. Back when Titans first started, they were about 150. They've gone up to 179 to 199 depending on the character now. Optimus was 150, so that's what I call the Titan Junior price point. For mass market, to a degree, that's probably where a lot of people are having to say, okay, that 150 price point, unless it's a HasLab or it's a reissue of an older Titan that someone didn't get before, like that Triptychon in those new colors that looks absolutely fantastic, that I have no desire to own. I just don't want to
On a
see.
side note with that, you're probably going to
Okay.
like this. Repper Labels is actually releasing, I should say Toy Hacks, is releasing a Gigatron set for that, including a horn, to change him into
Good.
Gigatron. So there's your
That'd
opportunity
make-
if you want one.
Right. And my concern, Megamus, is just basically they're making these higher level figures they're already niching themselves out of most of the collector's market. Whereas
Right.
if this thing was $299, $329, somewhere through there, they would probably see a lot more people wanting this figure who
But
are
it would-
like, okay, I could get Lio Kaiser from HasLab, or I can get this Predacon. Again, it's a very stylized Predaking, so it's not going to be everybody's cup of tea. It's like
Right.
this is something you put in a detolf by itself, because it will fit with nothing else in your collection. But it will look
but the
absolutely.
thing is that if they drop it down to 250, you're not going to get what you get with this.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
The price is such because of all the extra stuff and the stylization and everything.
I'm going to come at this from
It's just
from
not
a
going to
different
happen.
angle because I think I fall more on the side of the collector that that this aims for, to a degree. Because I buy a lot of Japanese collectibles. I buy a lot of high-end Japanese collectibles. Where routinely I spend $200-$300 on the figure, right?
Yeah.
This to me is Takara's target at a market that is not your standard average collector. It's more of the market that, there's a big market in Japan for things like the Soul of Chogogen line, which are die-casts, highly detailed, high-end robot figures that are usually very expensive, very fragile, meant for adult collectors. And I think that that's what, especially this line in particular, with the Predaking and with Rodimus, I think that's the collector base that this is really targeting. And we get sort of a benefit on, because Solid, if you buy a Solid Chogogen from like Big Bad Toy Store, you're probably looking at $150, $200 markup because of importing. But because we have the benefit of Takara, Hasbro being sort of an entity together, we get this for not much more than what it's going to it's going domestically in Japan for. Now, Solar Chogogens, I think, when you import them, come out to be about the same price. So this is very expensive. As even in Japan, it's $400. It's about $400. But this is definitely this is targeting these this sort of Super Robo, think robot collectors, and not so much your everyday goes to Walmart and hunts for Transformers type of collectors. And I also think that's why it makes sense for Hasbro to bring these to Pulse and stuff like that, because they're not expecting to sell this in the volume that they would have to sell something like the Wild toy line you were talking about, with the Optimus Prime and Megatron and the Beasts.
Wild King.
Yeah, Wild King. I think that that line would have to sell more units for it to make sense to import it in, and they're just not. Unless they do that on retail shelves, they're probably not gonna do that through Pulse, right? It wouldn't make sense to try to do that through Pulse. And it kind of they've done the same thing in the past. There was that line that came out during Prime where Optimus Prime was a train.
Transformers Go.
Yeah, Transformers Go.
Yeah.
Where they've had that sort of kid-focused line in Japan that we never got, which I think is what this one is as well. It's kind of that market that they're hitting. Some of that I think is to maintain relevance of Transformers in Japan, where here we have Cyberverse or whatever it is now running. But yeah, I think these collectibles like this in particular, this Predaking, I think is more trying to be a little bit of a Takara's answer to the Soul of Chogogen stuff. And I don't think it's really intended for a super large market. I think it is intended for that collector that has details where they have one figure per shelf in a detail, and they are meticulous about their display, and not really, because this doesn't really fit in with anything, but I think it would fit in very well in a sort of a one of those Soul of Chogogen collectors collections.
And I mean, I totally understand that. It just worries me that it's either not going to be a success because they're not going to move the units that they want to move, or it's going to be a success, but they're going to keep putting characters that people want into this higher priced line that most people are not going to be able to afford, which is going to be creating a lot of bad will, because it's like, hey, this line is getting a lot of characters that we want. It's just I'm gonna use a personal example. Okay, Mondo Toys. Mondo is releasing a She-Ra set.
Uh-huh.
It's She-Ra and Swiftwind. The set base price $749 for the basic price of the set. With taxes, shipping, and tariffs, it is over $950 for that set. I would have to cancel every pre-order I have for the rest of the year to justify that one purchase. So they have priced me again. Some of that is the tariff stuff, but they have priced me completely out of it, and I feel like something could have been done to make that more palatable for more people to be able to afford it. But again, they're not trying to exclude people on purpose. They're just putting the money into it to get what they want, which demands a higher price. But it still pisses me off I could afford it if I cancel every pre-order I have between now and the end of the year for one thing.
I can
Yeah.
see.
I mean-
I can see the frustration there, Don. When it comes to, I'd say more the completist. It's gonna be much harder.
Yeah, I can only
Like, I can
Dononomic
see-
so much.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And like with Cyburn, I understand his point of view because I have met certain collectors. Say they collect Soul Shogogan, they collect Gundam, they collect, Hot Toys, they collect, SH Monster Arts, as even SH Figure Arts, stuff like that. A lot of those are higher end toys. They're a lot more expensive. They're not what you're just going to find randomly anywhere. And even Megamus knows how Hot Toys are. They're pretty expensive, And these toys are for those collectors that want like a specific setup in glass details. They probably don't even really play with their toys. They're just for display items only.
What
But
are you trying to say?
no, I'm just saying. What I'm trying to say is a lot of those people try to, set it up more as a museum versus a thing they're going to mess with much. Like, I think the reason they have done this, like, tackle Predaking, because Predaking has a presence about him when it comes to all the combiners, other than, like, Devastator. He's usually, like, the one that most people, like, oh, Predaking, it's like usually everybody's, like, first or second favorite when it comes to the larger combiners. And I think the reason they picked this guy is because of that whole reason. Also the fact that they probably don't really have a plan to do another updated version of Predaking, considering a lot of people like that Titan's Return version. Because a lot of people love that toy. Or the Power of the Prime, whichever, the newest
Power
one.
of the Prime.
Yeah. I get those
It's
two
amazing.
mixed up, but I mean it's essentially the same thing.
So, like I said, I look at my Power of the Prime, and it's perfect. This thing does not fit with my collection, so for me, it's an easy pass.
Yeah.
But I also don't. I get what Don is saying, but I don't see it. I don't see one having anything to do with the other. You're talking about different price, different everything. It's just because they put it in a high end doesn't mean they're not going to do a low end one either.
Yeah, man, I could see the worry of certain maybe certain things only happening. That I don't have a whole lot of confidence in this particular line. They did that Rodimus. Everyone seemed to like that Rodimus that they did. They're doing the
Shattered
this is
glass
the last.
color.
It's the last light Rodimus. From the IDW comics, that he seems to be a very popular design in Japan. I think that was like one of the first ones that Flame Toys did as well when they did their non-transforming, like the They're expensive, and I think that was also one of the first ones they did in their model kits as well. And then I think there's also there's a I think Predaking is pretty popular in Japan as well. Doing him in this very anime style, but it's hard to really see how far this line will even have legs. Because I do think it is designed for a very specific type of Japanese collector. And so I don't see them doing like. They're probably not going to do your hot button. Like I anticipate there'll be an Optimus at some point. Maybe they'll do like IDW Optimus or something like that next, or something like that. But yeah, I could see the concern. What if they do something that hasn't been done in a while, or something that the character that everyone has wanted, and they do it in this high-end line? That could be. It could be frustrating. I wouldn't put it past Takara, or not even Takara, Hasbro, to eventually have a lower end alternative to anything. I think there's already a low end alternative. I think they'll eventually reissue that Titan Predaking. I think that feels like it's a no brainer.
I can't see them doing it.
Yeah.
Making this high end collectible a one and done. I just don't see it. If they have a character that's popular enough to where they're going to make money, they want to make money across the whole spectrum. They're not going to just, seclude it to, the high end. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah,
Well, I mean,
it's sort of
that kind of almost trails into the next one we wanted to talk about, because the next one is like, how do they reuse this? Because it is another exclusive, and it is a high-end item. There's nearly no way they're going to be able to reuse this, but I'm talking about that the Zoids Optimus Prime.
Ugh.
I understand the ugh, but this hits 3 different markets. This isn't.
I freaking love it.
Yeah, it's amazing. Because this hits Diaclone, it hits Zoids, and it hits Transformers. It is a 3-fold triple crossover. We don't get much crazier than that.
Now, granted, the Diaclone is extremely generous as far as what the Diaclone part contributes to this.
But my thing is, I bet you it's the parts forming portion.
It's very little.
Yeah.
It's very little, but if it has the engineering that the Diaclone stuff has, if you guys haven't followed version 2 Diaclone stuff, that stuff is modular to the nines. Like, it's crazy. It's like you take modularization, you turn it up to 11. I can see this actually having a lot of that same engineering involved.
Yeah, the Zoids community, Zoids has never really been a thing for me. It's just never, whatever something needs to get my attention, Zoids never had it. And that's probably on me. But this, I want to say on one hand, I'm really glad that the fans that are Zoids are getting something unique. And on the other hand, it's like, who the hell is this for?
Cyber.
It's for me.
Okay.
It's
okay,
for.
I mean,
it's for a 33 to 38-year-old man who grew up watching Toonami and watched Transformers Armada, followed by Zoids Next Generation every day after school.
Okay. Well,
yeah, I was super big into Transformers. My brother was super big into Zoids. The one thing that the very first thing that I thought of when Transformers started doing crossovers, with the Star Wars crossovers back in the day, was Transformers Hasbro does Zoids and Transformers. They should do Transforming Zoids. And 2025, there's finally a transforming Zoid. So yeah, I am 100% the target audience here. I think in Japan, Zoids is a bit more popular than Transformers, and Diaclone seems to be very popular.
Diaclone is like, well, you gotta think.
They're pushing sets out all the time.
Yeah, because Diaclone, dealing with Takara's history, Transformers' origin came from there. So this is like rooted with people that are Diaclone collectors. Maybe they don't want to collect like the newer Diaclone, but they want a Diaclone piece to go with what they have. This would work, especially for a Beast Wars collector, further into the Beast side. I mean, this thing, the only thing I can think of would be like maybe a couple recolors they could do of this in the Zoids fashion, but I'm not sure what they're going to do beyond that with this. But it being a Diaclone thing, I wouldn't be surprised if some of the engineering gets thrown into the Diaclone pool.
And it's hard to say. I mean, it seems like the whole Synergenics line is really just Takara doing crazy things, like because there's not a whole lot of consistency to it. Like, unlike the Predaking, which was the second in a series, where they sold Rodimus as the first in the series, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This doesn't say that it's number one of a Zoids a Zoids Transformers Diaclone crossover. This might just be a one-off. This might be the only Zoids Transformers Macross, or not Macross. I don't know why I keep saying. I know why I keep saying Macross, because I was going to get to Macross, but Diaclone crossover. Zoids Transformers Diaclone. But other things in the Synergenics line is that Macross Transformers crossover, and stuff like that. And again, it really seems to be a lot of this is, I think, because I think Transformers has always had a problem in the Japanese audience, in that it is a kids focused line, and in Japan, where their birth rate is terrible, and ours is not great, I think there's not a whole lot of like, they're not competing with Ultraman to beat the kids' interests in Japan, and so we're finally getting sort of to a point where Hasbro and Takara, they don't deny the collector fan base anymore, right? They don't deny that the collectors are kind of starting to float the ship, and I think in Japan that means, in America they can do SS86, and that we consider that a collector's focus line, but that's not in Japan. They don't consider that a collector's focus line. That's still kids stuff. The collector's focus stuff is you go into your collectible shop and you drop $100, $200, $300 worth of yen, and you walk out with a single figure, right? And that's their collector. It's quality over quantity. Like, we like to get a lot of our stuff, but they have a
like a perfect example of collector, and it's on a lesser scale because it's not as expensive. But even like just the whole Missing Link line, that is collector. That's all that is.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a nod to the collectors. So Hasbro, Takara, whatever, they're paying attention to the collector, and they are doing stuff for the collector market. I think in this instant, I think they're expecting a lot from a collector. When you're paying $35, $40 for a mini bot is a lot, but it's $35, $40. $450 plus for a combiner? Yeah, you're kind of asking for a lot. And I
See,
think,
that's
I think that's where it's going to bite them in the butt.
that's a difference in markets, which
It is, but
is the
it's
direction
also-
I'm coming from.
They're doing a whole line. Right now, it's just one figure, but possible line or two figures based upon a specific group, i.e., high-end collectors. I think you're asking too much,
Well,
and I think you're gonna. That's why the line's gonna fail.
It's really hard to say because really depends on how much they produce too. Because and another thing, Japan usually doesn't produce in the numbers that we produce in. You got runs of like 10,000 instead of runs of 2 million or something like that. Whatever it is that we produce, we need for retail. And again, there's like here, hobby shops are a niche. There's, if you have a hobby shop, you have one in your town, right? In Japan, like especially when I, in my visit to Tokyo,
Every corner.
One street might have half a dozen hobby shops on it and you go in there with things ranging from a $20 price point all the way up to a couple thousand, when it comes to like anime statues and stuff like that. So I think that those sorts of things are more common in the Japanese market, and there's like a willingness to spend a lot on a single item, where I feel like our market is a lot. What we would like to have a lot. We would like to have a lot of items for lower prices, right? Which is where our deluxe, Voyager, leader class has always been sort of the staple of our collecting.
I mean, I guess the easiest way of looking at this would be if you look at the Gundam market. Gundam is huge over in Japan. It's gradually been getting much bigger here in the United States. They have got kits from tiny ones all the way up to the most insane engineering that you literally pop it off the sprue and it already has mechanical moving parts on the sprue. And some of those extreme high grade ones are very expensive. And their, price point is very close to stuff like the thing we're looking at, like that Predaking. That's for a
You
kit
might be like,
you put together.
$200 for something you have to build.
Right. So I mean, $200 to $300 for some of those master grade kits. It's pretty crazy, and they're every bit as large as these, as detailed, as articulated, and then some. Some of them actually have lighting gimmicks, all different kinds of stuff in them, and that's what we're talking about when it comes to high-end collecting. Like the people that are buying this Predaking, the people that are buying this Optimus Prime are also buying master grade Gundam.
Well, and I think that's why Hasbro labels them as Takara Tomy on Pulse. I definitely don't think that this is an intention to. Yeah, I think they're on Pulse to offer it as a easy way to get it for U.S. based collectors that would want it, and not so much as to ever really focus these things on U.S. based collectors. I do think that if this was 2005, these would be things that we would just be drooling over, as Takara releasing them into their own market, and we would have to import them on eBay and stuff like that, right?
Like we used to have to do.
Yeah, so this is more just like I think these will never be made or broken by U.S. sales figures. I think these will be made or broken by how much the Japanese market picks them up. I think these are sort of just whatever they pick up from America is icing on the cake.
Right.
Yeah.
With these lines.
Yeah. It's just. It's hard for me to put them. It's like I'm not above, and I want everyone to get what they want. If you like the high end stuff, you deserve the high end stuff. You deserve to have some of the stuff made for your tastes. It may take a while, but eventually, because there are people out there that doesn't look at, this as being a transformer. Although there's nothing really wrong with Slingshot. It's just they want the high-end stuff. They want the masterpiece. They want the high-level third-party stuff. They don't want they don't want Hasbro's Minosaur. They want Fans Toys Minosaur, which is fine. If that's what you want your aesthetic to be, that's great. But if stuff that they know would be very popular with many people is shunted to this high level thing, it's going to create some frustration on things that, again, I want that Predaking because I think it's a great looking figure. It doesn't fit with anything I own, but I've been collecting so long and I'm of an older mindset when scale doesn't mean as much to me. Yeah, over the past few years, I do kind of want my stuff to be more in scale. But having something like that Predaking stand out on the shelf, I can enjoy it for what it is, and not have to worry about, well, it doesn't fit this, it doesn't fit that. It's its own thing. I'm good. I've got a shelf downstairs that's going to be nothing but the entire shelf of the entire theme of the shelf is no theme. The entire shelf is going to be really cool stuff that I have no idea what it is, and it's going to look cool posed on the shelf. That's the theme. And you'll have 20 different lines on there, but it'll be my really cool stuff. So that doesn't bother me.
I'll be honest with you. I think when it comes to hodgepodge, I like to call them a hodgepodge shelf. Is what I call them. I think it's cool to have that. I personally, I have more of a sentimental shelf, but if you look at it, it is a hodgepodge. There are some things on there that are very expensive. There are some things on there that are, why'd you even keep that? It kind of makes you wonder. You know what I mean? And it's like the value to something when it comes to this higher end stuff. If those people want to collect that type of stuff, I have zero issue with. Where I have an issue is whenever it becomes straight exclusive from one market and it's insanely hard to get hold of, and it kills the drive of actually them wanting to make others in the line, if that makes sense.
Right.
Like,
well, it does,
the Diaclone
if
thing,
you're
the Diaclone Transformer crossover, how many of us would love to see them take the Zoids and turn them into the Dinobots, for instance? If they did that, like, you guys probably have all seen that Zoids T-Rex. Imagine that turning into Grimlock. Who wouldn't want that? And then you turn around and throw the Diaclone gimmicks on that. That thing would, if they released that in more or less the scale it would be in Zoids, that thing would be massive, and it would cost pretty close to $700-800 probably for that figure. But if it's carrying the lineage, it will sell. But the problem is there a market for it? That's the question.
Right.
That's the ultimate question.
Yeah,
You just
it's
did
going
an
to come.
oxymoron right there when you said it will sell, but is there a market? Sorry.
Yeah, it's.
I mean, I see that, like, because I'm a Generation 2 guy. I love G2. Everybody knows this. When they did that whole Toxitron line, they had some good ones, but there was a ton they could have thrown in there. Thrown in,
but you were also,
Leadfoot into a 2-pack with a... I'm going to call them, the weaponizers that look like, the bones of animals. Hey, Hasbro.
Yeah, the fossilizers.
Hey, Hasbro. You remember fossilizers? Why don't you be, really smart about this because you own Kenner? You guys remember that little line called Bone Age? There you go. They could have took that and did a whole crossover with that, and that could have became its own thing instead of wasting it and throwing it into Transformers consistently. There are things I don't understand. It's like they're making it exclusive, but is it really exclusive, or are they just being lazy? You see what I'm getting at? But this stuff, I think it's awesome. But I personally cannot afford that version 2 Diathlon stuff. Nor could I afford one of those Predakings. That Predaking is amazing. But how much is a Feral Rex right now, like in the aftermarket? Because that's probably the only one I would say it's even really close to what this thing looks like.
You know, I haven't looked in. The last time anyone mentioned Feral Rex, now this was a while back, but they said they were looking for a Feral Rex, and it was remarkably still holding a lot of its value.
It's probably the best version of Predaking I've seen from a third party ever, really. Other than the... Don, you probably know what I'm talking about. It's like a super deformed version, and the box art's got all of them looking like kind of like cutesy kitty cat type of things or whatever, and it's like a SD version of it, but it's like stupid cute and it's small. I can't remember the name of it, but there is a version of it that's like that, and that's honestly like the only other version of Predaking I've seen that I'm just like, that's dumb cute. I would love to have.
I think the
But it's
lucky.
stylized.
I think
That's the thing. We're
Yeah.
talking stylized.
I think there's. I don't think it's 52 Toys. There's a company that does the cube transforming figures. It's one of them. I don't know which one, but I think they're doing a Predaking.
Is it Lucky Cat?
Lucky.
It may be
think
Lucky
you're right.
Cat.
They did a Voltron,
Yeah.
and they did a Megazord.
Yeah. So I mean,
Yep, it's Lucky Cat. I found it.
okay. So I want everything to succeed, because if something fails, that means all the chances of something being in that line somebody wanted is going to be gone until they find some. It's like what Hasbro has said about G2 Motormaster. We've got a few G2 figures in that Hasbro Motormaster set. They don't know where they're going to put a G2 Motormaster right now. So it's like,
But we're also
It
still
could be-
missing Wild Rider.
right. So Wild Rider is a deluxe. That can go into the next Walmart capsule. It can go in as a, if they want to do it as a Pulse exclusive, something. Unfortunately,
I think we talked about that before. I still see Motormaster being more of a store exclusive, just to get it.
Or it could be a HasCon or a PulseCon or something like that.
Right. I can see it, and that way they still have the same assortments out without messing with that.
Right.
And this would just be an extra one. But unfortunately, when you say extra, usually on the market that means more expensive.
Yeah. It's just.
I mean, to be honest,
We got you before. We got you hooked. We're gonna sink you with a upcharged final piece.
Okay, well, that's what Fans Toys did.
Mm-hmm.
Fans Toys, and again, I'm referencing Bobby Skullface. I like Bobby Skullface. I know him to a degree from BotCon and other conventions and stuff. We're not friends. It's just I know him. He knows me because he has heard of me at least. But I watched his video over the weekend, and he talked about the DX9 Minosaur versus the Fans Toys Minosaur. And last weekend, he did a retrospective on the journey of this Fans Toys Minosaur from first teases to final product. It took them 9 years to get that dead end out. That dead end came with everything else you needed to form Minosaur at $399. So you're on the hook for 9 years waiting for this last component. You didn't get anything while you were going. And then to complete the set, it's $400. Do you sell the rest and have wasted that time trying to get a set done? And here's the thing: Dead End is Bobby Skullface's favorite character. He thinks it's one of the worst figures of the line. So not only did he have to wait 9 years, he got what he feels is the worst character of the line. That's the problem with combiners.
Well, this is my question to that then. If you say it's the worst character, are we talking engineering? Are we talking
Yeah, well, I'm just
quality?
saying.
Because plastic quality within a 9 year, we've already seen with every toy line, has gone
Yeah.
downhill.
Well, he
That's
was
my
saying
question.
mostly like the engineering was substandard. 90-degree knees, 90-degree elbows. The articulation was bare minimum. Paint. Vance Toys does great paint. But it's just, compared to the earlier figures in the line that came out 3, 4, 5, 6 years ago. And that's kind of like this thing what Megan was talking about, the G2, to a smaller degree. If we want that G2 Minosaur from those legacy Stunticon figures, we're going to have to wait. And we're probably going to have to pay more for Minosaur by the time he does come out because of plastic costs, packaging. Because Aaron Archer has said packaging is about 20 to 30% of a toy's final cost. He said this back in his Hasbro days. I'm sure it's only gotten worse since then.
You know?
That's why a lot of third parties were doing plain brown boxes with basic lettering on it there for the longest time. They weren't doing these nice gift set boxes, these nice elaborate boxes.
You remember Hasbro was doing that for a little bit with the
Hasbro's Flex.
Hasbro Selects. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just
They
a
did that
placing.
for that reason.
Yeah, but if that is what helped us get some of those repaints and some of those figures, I'm fine for not having a super flashy box. How many of us actually keep? Oh, I've got a lot of them, but it's because I can't make myself throw them away. But
I'm going to
generally,
answer your question before you get to there. Apparently
Yeah.
enough to stop doing brown boxes.
Right.
That is.
Yeah. So this whole thing is nothing but a waiting game. How many years did I wait for a Headmaster RC? 30. Almost 30 years. Asking at BotCon for what? 24 years? Give or take? Plus or minus?
I mean, they
therefore?
canceled BotCon, so you'd stop asking.
You're not the first person to say that. You're not the first person to say that.
I mean, I did try to fill
Although-
in that niche for you for a little bit when I sent you that
Yeah.
costume. so that kinda
Although
gave
it
you
was
something.
funny. Although it was funny, Aaron Archer was at a TF con I was at, and I stood up. I said, "Hi, Mr. Archer. My name's Donald. I have a question for you," but it was a completely unrelated. He said, "You've already got your Headmaster RC. You're not getting another one." But I want this T-Spark line to be successful. I want everyone to get what they want. It's just going to create a lot of frustration among everybody when these characters that we want, these high-level versions of, are going to be out of most people's price. And that's just what I hate. Just like me and that She-Ra. You know, it's just.
Well, isn't
Well,
it like
I don't know.
if you wanted to get some of the newer Masters of the Universe figures, Motu, He-Man, for those who don't know, you actually have to buy into their collectors club. You actually have to pay
I saw that.
to get into it just to even get the figures. And I'm like, well, we kind of did that with Transformers, and that did okay until they
Was the Transformers
fussed
Collectors
around.
Club.
Yeah,
But we got
good
pretty
stuff.
good. Yeah. But again, no one is forcing us to buy this. No one is forcing me to or to not buy that She-Ra. It's up to me as a responsible adult doing a lot of heavy lifting there with quotation marks.
Wait, we're responsible here?
I said the quotation marks for doing some heavy lifting. I have to look at my finances, my life, my necessities, and it's like, can I get it? Can I not get it? Can I get it later if I sell X, Y, and Z? If I choose, so it's entirely in our power as a collecting fandom, us, Masters, Hot Wheels, whatever the case may be. We have to prioritize what's the most important thing that we want, and is all this other stuff worth sacrificing to get it? That's going to be the eternal question. Do we get these smaller things now that we do like? Or do we say, no, they're going to eventually do X? We were talking Solar Shigoken a while ago, and Sideburn brought up a very good point as far as the high end. Earlier this year, they came out with a Solar Shigoken figure that I have been waiting for over a decade. Solar Shigoken Tryon 3 from Gundam Build Fighters. That ended a decade ago. The last episode was over 10 years ago. And I waited because to me, that was what Solar Shigoken was made for. So I did not buy the model kit at first. I got it a few months ago and I found it at retail after, and I waited. It took me 10 years, and that toy should not exist, but it does, and I have 2 of them because I waited 10 years for Bandai to actually realize what I was thinking. So yeah, I had to wait. I had to wait a decade for that. Can't do that much anymore. I'm 55. I don't have that much time left to wait for everything else. But
Well, that's kind
you
of
just
my
have to.
question. Like, what Cyburn said, this Predaking kind of, something cool, but the Zoids thing kind of is in his wheelhouse. I would say the transitional thing with, like, us that are older, the younger group, that's what they're going to be looking more toward. Like, some of the toys when we were growing up, like, why is anybody ever going to want that? And later on you see collectors collecting the crap out of it. Like, Furby. People collect Furbies. I thought it was dumb in the early 2000s. There's some people out there that buy these things for an insane amount of money now. Because there's exclusive ones that were very limited in the market. I don't know if they're doing any, like, newer versions of any of this stuff, but when it comes to these types of toys, there's a lot that certain markets are going to get targeted. Like when you look at Ninja Turtles, it's all over the place. They have got low end, they've got high end, they've got right in the middle. They target everybody. And the only reason why Playmates is able to keep the cost down because they own their own factories. You guys didn't know that, that's why. Hasbro doesn't. Takara doesn't. So that's why it costs so much. They could probably produce these higher end figures if they owned their own factories.
Yeah, my prediction for, in particular, because the line that Predaking is in, along with that Ronimus, is like the AM. It's Adamus Machina, the name of the line. I anticipate you're probably going to see a lot of what you saw from the Flame Toys. Sort of, you're going to probably get more Japanese focused characters. Like I would imagine you're going to see an Optimus Prime, but you're probably going to see your Star Convoys, your I would imagine Star Convoy, a Lyle Kaiser. You're probably going to see stuff like that. Kind of the ones that sort of saw Flame Toys tackle with their like super high end like posable figures. They just didn't transform. I imagine that's probably where that line's going to go more than it's going to go to ever being anything kind of like super mainstream. Like that's not to say that people don't want those characters, but I don't think you're going to see outside of um, maybe something like Predaking, because Predaking is a pretty universally loved combiner. I think you're going to see more of your kind of niche stuff that I think the American market wouldn't pick up. Um, it's kind of what you saw in Flame Toys when they were really doing the really expensive stuff. Every now and then there was stuff like they did like the IDW Megatron at one point and stuff like that. But a lot of it was like super stylized sort of characters that more fit the market, the Japanese market, and I think that's kind of what you'll end up seeing here. If I was throwing a prediction out there, like I said, I anticipate you'll see a Star Convoy, or not a Star Convoy, but like a Star Saber, a Lio Kaiser, stuff like
I mean, when it comes to trying to predict what the line's going to do, it's kind of difficult because, I mean, I know a lot of people in the Transformer communities wanted, like, I want IDW figures. Everybody screams for the DJD. I'm like, do you think in the future, like, seeing Takara able to do stylized stuff like this for exclusive high-end market, do you see maybe they might tackle those individual characters that we
that. No, I don't think you'll ever. I don't know how much those comics are really. I don't know how big they are in Japan, to be perfectly honest. But like outside of them seeming to really like Rodimus's design, I imagine you'll probably see what's the main guy's name? Tarn.
What for the DJD?
Yeah, like I think
Yeah.
I think he tends to be a rather popular character, but like I don't see I don't see this being something to fill a niche, like to fill in niche characters that would never be done in Masterpiece or never be done here. I think again it's basically a solo Chogogan line. They're gonna hit probably the big. This will sell to Japanese, Super Robo collectors. And I think that's where that line will stay. And then, highly stylized in that sort of anime sort of style, because they're going to be posed with their crotch thrusted out way back. That's the Japanese pose. That's how every robot since the Braves have been posed. So.
Which I think is hilarious. That's a thing now, crotch thrust is, what we need for every Japanese robot ever.
I was here thinking about it, and Don, I will say one thing. I will admit and understand your fear if they come out with a Monstructor, because I'll be so mad.
In this
Correct.
format, yeah.
And at that point, I'll go, that's some BS right there.
But with everything else, we don't know what's going to turn up where. All we can do is make the best decisions. None of us need this stuff. None of us need this stuff to live. It helps us be happy. But
I
none
was
of us
planning on making milkshakes out of these if anything ever starts going south,
Yeah. But yeah, it's just I'm just a little worried that they're going to start putting characters that require more resources, even at a slightly higher price point, that would be more mass market in this line, like your Monstructor, like your Dino King, whatever the case may be. And it's going to be what everybody's been wanting. And it's just not going to be affordable unless you judge it to be worth canceling pre-orders, selling other things, whatever you think is worth. If you think the juice is worth the squeeze, I
mean,
just don't know.
that's my thing when I'm sitting here thinking about, like, if you look at Monstructor and you look at Dino King, they did the Dino King out of those core class Dinobots, and I personally like it, but I understand the people that were wanting deluxe class or larger. I get that, but
It'll be a
they'd
HasLab at some
happy
point.
if it just was a dude that turned into a chunk that filled into a shell, or would they just want it to fully transform into the whatever creature it was? Because it's like, I don't think, because we already saw third party try to attempt this and it didn't do that great. From what I heard, it was really hard to get hold of some of the shells to even put them in, or they were really expensive. And I don't know if there would be a high end wanting something like that kind of crazy. Because I don't think they would want just a bunch of rubber shells to put next to the characters themselves. You see what I mean?
Yeah, but the rubber shells aren't the selling point in that.
No,
Well, some
it's
people like the rubber shells. Though. That's the
I
thing.
get it. The selling point is the name and the combiner.
yeah. I was lucky enough to get a set of those shells. The Chosen Prime had a set of all 6 shells, because that wound up being an extremely costly move for Fans Project. Back in the day, they didn't realize when they announced it how much rotocasting would cost to make those shells. So that's probably one reason the company did not survive past what it did. It was just the financial burden of doing that. But they did do it because they promised it and they knew the fans wanted them. I got super lucky and got a set of those. And Chosen Prime had them all in stock in a set, and the box was just, imagine your average BBTS box.
All those things were huge.
They were huge. Yeah.
The shell in and of itself came in what your sneakers would come in.
Yeah.
I mean, it was.
Yeah.
I used 6 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's not including the toy. That came in another box.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
what would be your guys' ideal? I would say, what would be your ideal high-end figure that you would drop the money on? What would be your ideal one?
y'all go ahead. I'm not sure on that.
I don't know. Because I'm not really. I'm thrown off by the stylization of it, so the whole idea just doesn't appeal to me at all. But basically, not using that, but just saying, what figure would you like to see upscaled to the point that it would demand that big of a price point?
Yeah, a prestige build.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. I want to say something completely, absolutely absurd, but it's the only thing that can really illustrate Hot Toys Neo Knight figures. If Hot
I
Toys,
see what you're saying, but for me, I can do without them.
I'm just saying it would take something like that.
No, I'm
to
just
really,
saying that
you know.
if you're asking me what figure I would want in that upscale, it would be something I would want. That I'd be like,
Yeah.
my collection's not complete without it. And it would be very hard for me to come up with something. Because aside from flaws that they all have, I'm pretty happy with what we've got. I'm okay with it. You know, the figures we've gotten lately are pretty daggone good. I'm not saying they're worth the price, that we've been charged. But the figures in themselves, I think they've been pretty good.
So, Cyburn, the question was, um, with the high-end price point, what would be your ideal figure? Like who,
Okay.
what, or any of that?
I did think of something, but I can wait.
Oh no, go ahead. He's thinking. I can see.
Well, one of my favorite figures of all is Reflector. And to get a reflector that doesn't have to be a working camera, but daggone near close to it, in scale and quality and functionality and all that, that would be pretty slick. That would be hard for me to pass. You know, and honestly, the same thing would also be for Megatron, but that's not going to happen. Because
Yeah, unfortunately,
I don't do no tank.
yeah, unfortunately, Takara being so closely tied with Hasbro now, I think our chances of gun Megatrons is pretty much gone.
It's done. It's
Yeah.
It's not gonna.
Yeah,
happen.
it'll take a third party like the New Age Romulus that came out right before, right when 86 Optimus came out. That was a air too short.
I mean, I personally think that a missing link G1 styled brand new mold tank Megatron would be interesting. But I think that none of you want that.
No,
And I think there would be a revolt against it. I think it would be cool. Like I always, because you know, the one thing I always thought was really cool about the Glacial Lord was bringing new characters into a G1 style, and I kind of liked when they did that. Like I always felt like they should have done like a G1 Prowl Barricade, you know, like make movie Barricade as a G1 character and stuff like that. I don't know. I like seeing like fan art where they take new characters, make them look G1 styled and stuff like that. I always think that's kind of interesting. So I think that would be interesting if they did it. I don't know. I feel like a lot of people would be very mad about that. But yeah, I mean,
I can see that.
yeah, when you throw out so high end character, I mean, I would want. This is the most. No one would ever want it. No one would buy it. But in the Beast Wars second movie, there was Majin Zarak, which would turn into an airbase carrier or not an airbase, but
An aircraft carrier.
aircraft carrier. And then transforms. That would be like the high end. That would probably be the one thing that I would want. And I don't see that ever happening in anything but a sort of high end, this is made for a specific market sort of thing, right? Because I think other things that I would want have the potential of being things like HasLabs. Like I think maybe, and maybe not even HasLabs. Like I think a Magnaboss it has the potential to be a HasLab, if not the potential to be a future Commander class figure. Just with the way that
I can see that.
yeah. So for me, it would be something totally wild that would never happen. And for me, that would be something like Majin Zarak from Beast Wars Second, or something like that. But
You know, I thought of something that you would probably be torn on getting if they use this T-Spark money and level of detail for Tripredacus and Magnaboss.
yeah, I mean, I would. It would be that would be something that I would definitely drop the money for, on principle. But I'd be surprised. I don't know. I would assume Magnaboss. But see, it's so weird because it's Leo Convoy. Or Leo Convoy / Leo Prime has gotten so many figures over the years. But like nothing else from Beast Wars Second gets anything. Until Magmatron, Magmatron's from Beast Wars Neo. So I'll take that back. Nothing from Beast Wars Second gets anything other than Leo Convoy. So, yeah, that'd be interesting. I feel like it calls into question how popular those shows were outside of Lyle Convoy, but I would definitely buy them. Like, and I would like a super stylized like anime, like I guess exactly what this Predaking is, but as Tripredacus, I would lose my freaking mind because I love Tripredacus. It's my favorite combiner. It's probably my favorite Beast Wars toy. So, yeah, I would definitely love that. Even if it is in the Beast Wars second colors, which are in some ways superior, some ways inferior.
Very much superior.
I just think it's weird that the lobster is already boiled.
Yeah.
He's just a little sunburn. Just a little. I mean, what I would love.
I love those colors.
Like, you're talking high-end toys. I'm the one that's probably gonna. I'm probably the only person in the world who would really, really love this. But I would love to see from the '86 movie that was in the prototype sketch room that never made it, that was cut. I would love to see Rails. I want a gigantic snake that turns into a train. That could literally haul other Transformers. That would be a high-end thing. Because it would be very expensive to make.
I was thinking they could kill two birds with one stone. Remake in look the Tycho train set from the 80s, but have it be rails. That way, in train mode, you get the look of the Tycho set, but you can have the rails component as well.
Let me see if I can look it up, because I actually have a photo of what I did. Because I have that set. I love that train set. That train set is a grail. That thing will stay with me. Like, if I had to sell everything, that thing would stay. I love trains. And I did a thing where I kind of put it together to make it look kind of like rails. It does kind of do it. That's why I consider it a G1 rails. But for them to actually make one that literally transforms the way it should from that standard diesel locomotive into that more Japanese bullet train style, and then turns right back around and turns into a snake head. That's some insane engineering. It's almost like it would have to turn itself inside out to do that. So I don't know how they would even pull that off. That would definitely be some high-end engineering. That would be really expensive to do, especially having the tanker, the oil tanks, and then just the flatbed cars to be able to haul other Transformers on. And it all have an ability to rear up and just kind of like a snake does, and have ability to hold that position. I don't know. It's insane. That's a fever dream for me, is to see that happen. Everybody wants to see it as a Titan. I'm like, a Titan price point wouldn't even work for that. They would have to go even further than that. Just because of the
There needs to be more snake Transformers.
There's not enough of them. That's for sure.
We need a new Kurata.
Hey, I like the idea that the way he turns into what he does. It's nuts. That is probably one of the most insane, ingenious engineering things I've seen. Like, when it comes to Beast Wars, that is probably the pinnacle.
And if you try to explain to someone how it does transform, they don't get it. that the whole piece pops out and becomes part of the snake itself, and everyone's like, "What do you mean?" Never mind. I mean, the whole body's in the cow, and everything else is arms,
Yeah,
and it's like, but it works.
it's great. I mean, because it turns into he was wearing a poncho. I mean, it's such a cool character.
It's so like Western because he turns into a cobra, but I mean they easily could have just made him a rattlesnake. You know?
No. But they definitely could have had some Clint Eastwood vibes on it.
I'm telling you, it did. It was so cool.
Should have been like a gunslinger.
I consider him a gunslinger.
This is where I
just
wish.
by looking at him.
Yeah, and I know we should probably wrap up here soon, but I just wish that animated would have lasted longer because I feel like we would have started getting even weirder references because I could have totally seen Karada being in the background or something in a Transformers animated episode or something, or have him voiced by someone from like an old Western, have a quick like just make him sound like he's from a Western.
Just the old raspy voice. And, yeah.
I mean, really, they could have just got Clint Eastwood to voice him. That would have been perfect.
Yeah, that wouldn't have cost.
Yeah, I'm sure that cost a lot of money, but
he's almost dead anyway, so.
Yeah, unfortunately, but we love him. I don't know. I love Clint Eastwood. I'm a big Clint Eastwood fan.
I like Clint Eastwood. Not so much as a director, but
I have like
yeah, those are my favorite Westerns.
8 of his movies on VHS. Yes, I have
Western.
a VHS player. Because, some of us are old like that. I cannot find this picture for the life of me. With what I
What are you
did.
looking for?
My picture of the Transformer train set, how I set it up to look like rails.
like I said, you made it up.
Yeah, I made it up. Because I
Excuse
make
me.
things up.
Yeah, it's not there.
No, this is a fever dream.
Figment of your imagination.
But yeah, I think it's. I mean, really, like when it comes to high-end stuff, that's what I think of. I always think of just the thing I know they would never do, and that's something I don't think they're ever going to do. Wasn't it like Cup that turned into that tank?
Yeah, the crossover to the Sergeant Slaughter Triple T.
No. I'm talking about the '86, the non-released '86 movie. Didn't he turn into some kind of World War II Sherman tank or something?
Yeah, he would have been like a World War I kind of tank. That would be like I think they were called pepper pot tanks. I think very small, compact. The turret was like sitting forward with the machine guns on the side. A very World War I style.
That would actually make sense if they kind of try to fudge that into Hearts of Steel. That would work. Except for you make it so he has like a smokestack, so it looks like he's steaming.
Speaking of Hearts of Steel, did the second set go up for pre-order?
Yeah,
yeah.
Megatron and Bumblebee. Yeah, it was on. I have it. It came in a couple days ago.
Uh-oh.
Man.
This is Sideburn doing live purchases right now.
Nah.
I don't know. I'm a big fan of the Hearts of Steel stuff. I like that kind of thing. More train Transformers, please. Please.
It's neat, but I don't have the space for the money. I need to start another subgroup.
I mean, they don't want to do every other subgroup. Let's keep the trains in the mix. They don't get enough love. Especially
I like
steel
these
trains.
Well, these two sets are probably the only sets, but it's hard to say.
I don't know. I think, everybody wants to see that Shockwave. So I got a feeling we're going to have one more go. He won't be as big as the third party, but...
No, he had to be a leader class, if that. just to have the mass to do what he has to do.
What do you think would come out with him if they did a 2-pack then?
He would be standalone as a leader. I mean, he might include accessories, like say they did like steam effects for Optimus and Bumblebee that you could plug in, or smoke effects for Megatron's cannon mode, or a trailer for that first wave Optimus to sort of lengthen them out a little bit. Maybe like that Centurion drone that they did a couple years ago that came with all the parts for other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. But he would probably be at the very minimum a Voyager Plus, and I don't think a Voyager would have enough mass to do what it needs to do.
Because I mean,
Alright. That was a live purchase. I just bought him. So.
as you guys saw, there was little money signs just going away, floating into the ether.
I liked the first set was very good. So
I've been told that the Bumblebee is okay, but the Megatron's actually pretty neat. But I don't know. I watched MGo's review of it recently, and it looks really cool. I dig that line. I think it's a great line. I want to see them continue that because I want to see more off the wall stuff like that. I mean, how many times do we need Optimus turned into a truck? Let's turn him into other stuff other than trucks. They do it to Megatron. Might as well get Optimus on the train too. Pun intended. Alright, well, I think we're going to wrap up. Do you guys have any closing thoughts for the evening before we get out of here?
If they come out with something in this T-Spark line and you like it but can't afford it, that's fine. If there's someone else getting it, don't be a Richard, okay? Don't put down somebody else that is able to get this item if you cannot. And conversely, don't put down people who can't get this item because you don't know their situation. So just respect everybody's decisions on what they want for their collection, and don't use it as like, well, I own this, so I'm better than you because of me owning it. That's not what this is about. That's just what I'm saying.
Cyber? Any closing thoughts?
He might be
Yeah, I
regretting
think,
his recent purchase.
I both regret and do not regret every purchase I ever make.
There you go.
I mean, just I think a lot of this stuff, it's gotta just remember that, there are all sorts out there. Like, not everyone's as broken as me and spends like $200 on more fragile figures. Just perfectly honest. Be happy. Where you can and with what you can. At the end of the day, it's a hobby. No sense in sweating the things that you can and can't do, and just enjoy what you can. But you're probably better off if you can't. It's a crippling addiction when you start buying the high-end stuff. I got a Godzilla quarter over here that probably cost me, way too much money. When the cheapest one over there is probably $50. The most expensive one is probably, the most expensive thing in my corner now is $1,300. So, don't I don't think that's something to envy. It's a lot of money.
So what do you guys say about this, Megan?
Well, kind of going along with what Don said. Um, you know, like when Robinson first came out, I didn't care for it. They're kind of neat. I still don't care for them, but they're still neat. And like when Unicron came out, I said I'm not paying money for that. And then later on, I went, that's pretty neat. So I would never put someone down for what they collect. And one of the reasons is you never know, in a year or two you might go, man, I should have got that. Or I should have done that. But that's pretty neat. So collect what you like. Don't worry about what anyone else does. If they want to, talk about what they got, that they appreciate it, and it is what it is. Their collection is theirs, your collection is yours, and do what feels right.
And that I cannot disagree with, because being in the minority on the G2 thing, because I know a lot of people don't like Generation 2, absolutely despise it. Heard a lot of people say that. That's okay.
Well, and they're wrong.
But yeah, I mean,
I would buy more G2 figures if they looked like the comics. I want figures that look like the comics.
I mean, I that's one of the things I kind of wish they would do.
I did buy the one masterpiece, the G2 Sideswipe. I bought that because it came with that comic book face and the guns and stuff.
And the huge,
yeah,
spiky
exactly.
tire
Yeah,
shoulders, which are
The main
amazing.
thing is on that one, you got to get that upgrade kit so you get the bandolier and all that. That's awesome. That set was so worth it.
But I mean, that's the thing. Niche things. I say, just like they do, collect what you're going to collect and enjoy. Don't let people get on to you about scale, how much something cost, the age of it, any of that. Just enjoy it. It's a hobby. If it brings you joy, do it. If it doesn't, stop, think about what you're doing, and baby steps forward to make your decisions the correct way that goes with your lifestyle, I should say. Not everybody's got a lot of money. Don't feel bad if you can't get that high-end Predaking. If you got your G1 Predaking and you're happy, cool. If you got that reissue that was 2009, 2010, something like that, that reissue they did of Predaking, don't let anybody knock you because you got the reissue. At least you have one, and you like it. And don't get in an argument over the plastic one versus the metal one, because you know what? They both have their flaws. So, don't let people discredit what you're having. Enjoy the hobby that you're in, and just have fun. And help each other out with finding some of this stuff, because sometimes we all have problems finding this stuff. I just did a thing 2 days ago. I went to Walmart. I saw that they had 3 of the Constructicons, and I had a friend of mine that was probably looking for them. I let him know. I think he went and actually snagged them. So,
Was one of them Mixmaster? Because Mixmaster has been seen in a Walmart.
I have not seen Mixmaster at Walmart, but the other 3 I've seen Bone Crusher, Scavenger, and
The 2-pack?
the 2-pack.
Yeah. The last 2 are the ones I need.
Yeah, the 2-pack.
So,
Scavenger was on Amazon. Mixmaster has shown up at stores like CMD, but they're sold out.
But yeah, saw it out there. So hook each other up, help each other out. Leave any comments below, anything you guys want us to talk about here in the future. And we're going to sign off and get out of here.
Take care, everybody.
good night, everybody.
I gotta go, guys.
Okay.
I have it.